the Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.
Hello listeners, one and all, and you join us for our weekly looking back and looking forward stint. It's the Monday Racing Post Postcast, and joining me, Lee Mottershead, we've got great Racing Post brains, Nick Watts and Jack Haynes, and on the line from Ireland from our good sponsors, Paddy Power, Mr. Rob Catterson. Hello, one and all.
Good day.
Hello.
Three hellos, that's a good start. We will begin with the race that nearly stops a nation, the Racing Post Trophy on Saturday at sunny Donny, won by Rivet. Guys, he produced a good front-running performance, solid victory, but connections after the race, certainly not leaning towards running in the 2000 Guineas. They didn't think he handled the track in the Dewhurst. Rafe Beckett in today's Monday Jury talks about he's got 6 Fastnet rocks, they're heavy top, they don't seem to go down. Wouldn't be great on the track either, I don't think. How do we assess Rivet, Nick?
I think he's a good horse. He's very likeable. He's put in 2 really good displays at Doncaster, hasn't he? And it's exactly what you said. He seems to like flat tracks. So where he would go next season is hard to ascertain. Newmarket certainly wouldn't seem to be on his agenda, and rightly so after a dismal showing in the Dewhurst. And for that reason, you know, on account of breeding as well, you'd struggle to see him running in the Derby, I think. So a bit of a puzzler for connections. He's, like I said, really solid, likeable, very, very good horse, but one that seems to have a marked preference for flat tracks. Maybe they'll have to go to France, but I think domestic classics are out the window for him even at this stage.
Jack, put yourself in the mind of Lester Piggott, the Magnus, the Tables, that own Rivet, and William Haggis too, and Maureen Haggis too. Put yourself in their minds. Rivet now belongs to you. Your 2017 plan, your agenda, what is it for Rivet?
Well, I've got a lot more money than I had about 3 seconds ago.
It's been a good afternoon so far. Yeah.
But it's hard to say, as Nick's already mentioned, where he goes next. France or even further afield may well be an option for him. It was an impressive performance yesterday. The race, you could look at it also as rivals and question its strength as a Group 1.
Yeah.
But you could have said the same last year as well. And we've had Johannes Vermeer, Deauville, both won Group 1s.
Yeah.
Foundation been placed in Group Company as well. I think the same will happen again with this year's renewal. It was quite an interesting contest, and it's hard to say where he'll go next year, but I think his targets will be abroad, possibly mainly in Europe.
Okay. Rob, what sort of prices are you guys quoting for the Classics next year?
Yeah, he's 16-1 for both the 2000 Guineas and he's 16-1 for the Derby. Pretty much you'd have to agree with what the lads say. And going down memory lane and all the years gone by, the Racing Post Trophy, it's more been a Derby trial than a Guineas trial. So
great Derby trial, Rob. Great Derby trial, though.
Yeah. So listen, we'll have to wait and see. Things can change, and obviously if he's working pretty good next May, they might throw their hand in at Newmarket. But I'd say a lot of people will be waiting until next year before they back and for either classic.
Okay, the French 2000 Guineas run over a straight mile. That would be maybe an obvious starting point.
Yep.
Doncaster over the weekend. Aside from the Great Racing Post Trophy, gentlemen, anything that caught your eye at Donny?
I've got to say there wasn't really. I thought it was quite an end-of-term feel to it, Donny. And whereas I loved the big race and some good, thrilling handicaps. Swadalo, just seeing off the Irish horse Teutonus. So good finishes, but nothing necessarily I'd instantly put in the horse tracker.
Okay, what about if we spread the net further afield? Newbury, Leopardstown, anything? Robert, Leopardstown on Sunday you thought was exciting?
I suppose Zona coming back. A lot of people were looking forward to him, and he ran well. I suppose he hasn't run in an awful long time, so it was great to see him back. And I suppose Dermot obviously has got his eye, I'd say, on another run somewhere between now and the next couple of months. But he ran well. He was obviously going to need the run. I was more interested in Punchestown Saturday. Obviously, the jumps now is starting to kick into gear. Noel Meade had a few good winners. The winner of the first, Stretching the Truth, did an awful lot wrong, and he still won. We've him quoted in the Supreme Novices, but no, Willie Mullen's runner. Obviously, he's been quiet enough, but that'll change. But I was more interested in Punchestown Saturday than Leopardstown Sunday.
Well, Rob, it says here in the running order that the jump stuff comes after the first advert. So hold fire on all your future jump thought. Think solely about the flat, Rob, and Jack. Thinking solely about the flat right now. Anything from the weekend?
I thought there was an eye catcher in the Racing Post Trophy itself.
All right.
Sir Dancelot ran a really lovely race.
Didn't stay, did he?
Yeah, he just weakened out of it in the final furlong, but he probably travelled the best of the field. And there'll be plenty of improvement from him. He's a big strapping colt. He should be a nice 3-year-old for David Ellsworth next year.
Yep, travel like a dream. Just read the Racing Post Trophy again. Ballydall, strongly represented. Yucatan stayed on quite pleasingly without ever looking like he was going to win the race. As we go into the winter, Kel Surprise, Ballydall dominating the Guineas betting. Churchill at the head of the 2000 Guineas betting with Caravaggio and War Decree up there as well. Rhododendron, favourite for the Guineas and the Oaks. Churchill, Capri, Yucatan towards the front of the Derby betting. How many of those 4 classics will Ballydall be winning next year? And if you were recommending listeners now at any, to back any of those Ballydall horses for a classic, what would it be, Jack?
Well, it's an embarrassment of riches, isn't it, really? Yeah. But I'd go for Capri in the Derby. Okay. I thought his Beresford win was really impressive on heavy ground. Should improve for better ground as well. I think he's the one for the Derby. Looks a real stayer. Okay,
Capri for the Derby for Jack. Rob?
Well, I don't think anybody could back Churchill at 6-4 for the 2000 Guineas. He'll be that price probably the week of the Classic. Rhododendron for me, she's improved all season long. She's 9-2 for the 1000 Guineas, and she's the one to beat in that.
Yeah, I've got to say I'm a big Rhododendron fan, Nick.
Well, if you're on about the most likely to be a classic winner, irrespective of prices, it's definitely Churchill. You know, he's had 6 runs as a 2-year-old. He's won 5 of them. So Aidan's just got to keep him fit and healthy over the winter, because the 2 Guineas, they come up so soon in terms of the flat year. That the experience he's gained as a 2-year-old will stand him in good stead. And you just look through the betting, you mentioned it already, Caravaggio second in, probably won't go. War Decree third in at 16-1. There's a really disappointing kind of anti-post feel to the 2000 Guineas, and it looks Churchill's already. And I would second you on Rhododendron. So I think Aidan can at least win the first 2 classics, and he'll be going into the Oaks, with the full house still on the agenda, a possible 5 out of 5.
Yeah, and it's been a great year for Aidan already in 2016. He's inching closer to that world record of flat Group or Grade 1 wins. Might not quite get there, but he's inching closer. In terms of the flat year just gone, what would be our individual highlights? For me, it would be the wondrous Winks in the Cox Plate on Saturday. I adore her greatly. Nick?
I'm going to say, I'm going to put a vote up to the stayers. I really like that division, and Order of St George, I thought, put up a cracking show in the Ascot Gold Cup. I think he could be very, very good in terms of not just, he is very good already, but he could even do a Yates and win it 2-3 times in succession. And it's something you tweeted about last week. I love the stayers. I think they're a really exciting division. I really enjoy them. And, contrasting to what you tweeted about last week about the Last Lion and Maymas going off the stud as 2-year-olds, they'll probably produce similar horses, really quick, sharp 2-year-olds with no longevity about them. So as a contrast to that, it's lovely to see these old horses keep going year after year.
I agree wholeheartedly with your sentiments, Mr. Watts. Mr. Haynes, do you agree?
Absolutely. Nick just mentioned my highlight would also be the Last Lion winning the Middle Park. It was unbelievable. It was Joe Fanning's first Group 1 win, really, so many years in the sport. He seems a really nice chap. I speak to him at the races, real good rider as well. So it's great to see him get a victory at the highest level. And it's a shame that he is off the stud, really. Shame on a few levels. For Mark Johnson himself, wonderful trainer, usually with handicappers, but for him to get a Group 1 performer, it's a real shame that he's already out the stable already. The stable staff as well, who look after him, it takes awful lot of work in breaking in the horse, first time through the stalls, galloping at the races, getting to the racecourse, and then obviously their delight to see him prove to be such a good 2-year-old. A shame they won't see him again next year. And on the greedy side of things, for racing fans and the media, we'll never quite know just how good he would have been next year, which is a shame, but be interested to see how he gets on at the stud.
Yeah, sensible words, Jack. Rob, what were your highlights for 2016 on the flat?
Performance-wise, yes, the one that stood out for me was Lady Aurelia in the Queen Mary. Like even when you watch it now, like Frankie sitting up 100 yards from the line, punching the air, like she was absolutely astonishing. I know she didn't hit the heights in her 2 runs after that, but I think we all love a Wes Ward winner at Royal Ascot, and what she did that day, I think it'll be a long time before we see a 2-year-old put up a performance like that at Royal Ascot.
Yeah, it was certainly full of the wow factor, as indeed will be part 2 of this weekend review postcast, which follows in a few moments.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
And listeners, you are also welcome to this part 2 of our Monday review postcast. And before we crack on with a very good weekend of jumping across Britain and Ireland, just a few moments to remember Moscow Fly, who we sadly lost last week, one of the ultimate 2-mile chasers in what was a golden age for 2-mile chasing. Rob, a real Irish superstar who was embraced by the British as well.
Without a doubt, I'd say if you asked most racing fans over here their top 3 horses of all time, he'd be in everybody's list. Like, he was just one of those horses that everybody loved. And I remember, Cheltenham previews every year that he was running, and there was a great saying used by a few of the journalists over here that he was the ATM every year of a Cheltenham festival, because he was just so consistent. He won an Arkle, he won 2 champion chases, he hit the deck in a champion chase, and I think the race that stands out for everybody was that 2004 Tingle Creek when he took on Azertiup and Well Chief. And when do you get a race like that so early in the season? All 3 had a great chance, and people still talk about that race, and they will for a long time. He was a proper Irish legend.
Guys, what are our highlights of Moscow Fly?
I'd second the Tingle Creek. I was actually there that day, and to have 3 great chases, you had Azertiup and Well Chief as well. They all ran to their best. And I used to love it when Barry Geraghty rode him. He used to give it that little look round, didn't he? In front, just coming into the home turn. It's like, come on, guys, what have you got? Invariably, he had more in the locker than most other horses, and it was a tremendous win. And also, when he was a novice, he did have he wasn't always the brilliant jumper early on, and I think he fell in his previous start before he won the Arkle. So to come off a fall and then come win the Arkle at Cheltenham and go on to do what he did, he was absolutely fantastic.
Jack?
I'd agree with Tingle Creek again. I was only 10 at the time. So.
You were only 10.
Oh, come on.
He was 10.
You're making us feel old now.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's good for you.
Yeah, true. But I remember seeing him black and white colours on the TV, and he was a great horse. Even the horses that he beat, Well Chief, Azertiup, Flagship Uberales, all top performers in their own right. It's sad to see him pass, but he goes down as one of the greats.
He certainly was. The jumpers that raced over this weekend just gone, clearly not Moscow Flyers. We did see some good ones. I missed most of it because we were turning our front garden into a visual gravel delight with a little stream running through it because I've had a lot of weed. So I missed it live. You guys are professionals, so you'll have been watching it live, as will David Jennings, because he was very sweet on So Royale for Cheltenham's 4-year-old hurdle on Saturday, napped that horse, and my word is right, Nick, So Royale absolutely dotted up. Alan King after the race was playing down the 11th win, trying to keep expectations measured. But is So Royale a genuine champion hurdle prospect? That is a question. Your answer is?
No, in the word, absolutely not. Well, that was 2 words.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
So Alan was right to be downbeat.
Yeah,
well, not downbeat, but
Yeah, no, I mean, taken in isolation, it was a really good win, and he won impressively, did it nicely. What happened to him towards the end of last season, I'm not sure, because he was impressive like early on last season. Then when he got to the festival, he didn't really produce. But no, good win on Saturday, but I think he's got a mountain to climb to lock horns with Annie Power and the like.
Jack, were you as underwhelmed as Mr. Watts?
Fortunately, I was as well.
Oh, dude, it's supposed to be a positive programme, this.
It wasn't a particularly strong contest, I don't feel. He clearly likes the track, but he's got a lot more to prove to be a genuine, worthy contender, I think.
But I did think, Rob, there was just that moment going towards the final flight when he was going so well, his head was to one side. It reminded me of my treasured Rooster Booster in the Champion Hurdle when he was sort of swinging away off that final. Did it bring Rooster Booster to your mind, Rob?
It didn't bring Rooster Brewster to my mind, but I'm not in a million years that I think we'd see a champion hurdle candidate at Cheltenham on Saturday. But I surprisingly was impressed with him because obviously I'm a broadcaster in Paddy Power, and we were playing out that David Jennings clip, and I was thinking to myself, if this horse is beat, he'll probably have to lock himself up for the next couple of weeks. And he did exactly what DJ said he'd do. Like, he travelled so well, and I watched it again this morning, and he just devoured the hill. Now, I know he didn't beat an awful lot. He beat last year's 4-year-old, and they weren't the best of the 4-year-olds. But like, you look at what's possibly going to run in the champion hurdle, he's a 20-1 chance with us. Like 5 or 6 horses ahead of him aren't going to line up. I know Alan King was playing down his chances, but what else have England got other than my 10 to yours? Not an awful lot.
Oh, don't rub it in, Rob. Don't rub it in.
But even Ireland, because Faugheen and Annie Power, they're both not going to run. Who knows if Applejade is going to train on? Yorkhill might go chasing. So the more you look at it, I think if you got 20s or bigger, I think you'd have a nice slip come Champion Hurdle Day.
The way you were talking there, if you've got Faugheen, Annie Power, Apple, you're not going to have us feeling sorry for you, Rob. You've got a plethora of riches compared to us Brits.
It's a long season, though.
Okay, so you're playing things down like Alan King. The 20-1 there, did anyone want to back him at 20-1 after the race?
They did, because he was 33s.
Okay, so you saw a bit of money for the horse.
Yeah.
Anything else at Cheltenham, gentlemen, over the 2 days there that you liked, all Rob in Ireland?
Well, again, I mentioned Punchestown. It was a good card. The race in Cheltenham, the novice hurdle, I know our man Frank tipped up the winner, but I thought West Approach, Thistlecrack's brother, ran well. He was probably the moral winner. And I'd say if Aidan Coleman could have ridden the race again, he might have done it differently. But I thought he was a future winner, definitely in the making.
Gentlemen?
Rob, you took the words right out of my mouth then, Rob. I had exactly the same horse written down. I just thought he, like you said, maybe Aidan would have got him a bit closer a bit earlier, because they seemed to dawdle for a lot of the race. I don't think it suited him, but loads and loads of promise in it. He's got a lot to live up to being related to Thistlecrack, but I think he could be quite good.
And Thistlecrack runs tomorrow at Chepstow. All being well. The rain is coming down in Wales. That's exciting, isn't it? Gold Cup winner, yet to run over fences. Must be unprecedented.
I think his Gold Cup price is slightly ridiculous at this point in time.
Strong comments there from Haynes.
Not convinced. Well, we're yet to see him over fences. He's got the scope for jumping, but it's a real short price for a horse. We're yet to really see it. And that World Hurdle Division last year wasn't particularly strong, I don't feel.
Okay, bold words there from Jack Haynes, who was 10 when Moscow Flyer won the Tingle Creek. Anything you saw at Cheltenham, Jack, that you liked aside from?
2 horses in the bumper on Saturday. Calanese Circle, his brother to Barter's Hill. He was quite green when he hit the front in a straight. He kind of floundered, weakened out of contention, but he'll benefit fitness-wise and mentally from that. Another horse, Pulp Fiction of Ben Case's, that was 3rd in the bumper. He made a mistake at last in his Irish Point when looking likely to win. He stayed on really well, and Ben does well with his bumper horses. He's had 3 winners at Southall towards the end of the last campaign. Oski in First Drift won twice, and Tempest River won the mare's listed bumper at Aintree a couple of years ago. So he's one to watch out for, a trainer in bumpers. His horses normally go for a fair price as well.
You've put in some homework going into this, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a long old train to London.
This is impressive. This is impressive. And lads, the old roan at Aintree on Sunday. I've loved Third Intention for a long time without ever thinking he was going to win a big race, and he did, and that surprised me. Were you surprised or not, Nick?
No, not really. I think it was the perfect race for him. I think he'd had a bit of work done in the summer. I think a soft palate operation. He's always had plenty of talent. And it was the kind of race where, for one reason or other horses might just have needed it a little bit. So it was a good opportunity for him. Well done to Colin Tizard. I thought the one that stood out for me was Smad.
Yeah.
I thought 2 miles 3.5 round a really sharp, mild-made track. I thought they'd be too quick for him, but he jumped superbly. He was coming back. There's a long gap at Aintree between second last and last. He was really coming back at them. Winged the last, and he wasn't beaten that far at all. I think he was just done for 3rd by Vibrato Valtat. Running against much faster horses. When he goes back over 3 miles, I thought that was a fantastic run from Smad.
Jack?
It was great to see. Third Intention win, deserved win at the level, definitely. Same as Nick, I picked out Smad Place. He was kind of obvious eye catcher from the race. Obviously, he'll have a lot more weight in the Hennessy, but I think it's a good each-way price.
Okay, Rob, what price are you about those 2 for the Hennessy?
Yes, Mad Place is 20s, Third Intention is 25s, and I think on yesterday's Old Rowan, you'd have more backers out of the 20-1 Mad Place than Third Intention. He very much was an eye catcher.
Okay, guys, one more commercial break, and then we will be looking ahead to the weekend.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP Fav at 1 meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Listeners, thank you for staying with us. Myself, Lee Modsted, Nick Watts, Jack Haynes and Rob Catterton. We are now going to have a look at the weekend briefly because, of course, we'll do it in more depth on Friday. If we just start with the jumpers because we were looking at that before we went into the commercial break. Charlie Hall chase this weekend. At the time of talking, we've yet to see the 5-day Weatherby forfeits, but we're expecting Q Card to return in this. We're expecting Black Line to run in the Charlie Hall. Nick, it's a race that's got your name written all over it. How do you see the Charlie Hall?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Black Lion is the interesting one for me, just going forward. I wouldn't maybe expect him to beat Q Card, but he's my kind of long-range fancy for the Hennessy. So I'd like to see a good run from Black Lion, and I very much hope we'll get one. As for Q Card, it's a really good opportunity for him. Things aren't going to be so easy for him this season. You've got Thistlecrack and you've got a new wave coming through. He's going to be 11 next year, and I did a bit of homework earlier myself. And,
Go on, this is good stuff.
And
this.
the last Gold Cup winner to win H11 was Mandarin, 1962.
The last Gold Cup winner to win at the age of 11 was Mandarin.
Yeah, 1962. So that's what he's got to try and live up to. So I don't think that's going to be easy, but I think this is a nice season for Q Card and connections of him. He's done so much in his career that if they can just eke out a few little more wins, maybe this weekend at Wetherby, it's all a bonus. And he had such a good season last season, didn't he? He was absolutely fantastic. They're in a good place. He's just done so many great things that they can just enjoy this season. And if he can pick up another race or two, then good luck to them. And this is probably the last season we'll see him at the top, isn't it? So let's just hope he comes through it unscathed, and if he can pick off another few graded chases, fantastic.
Yep, indeed. And a quick random survey across the three guests here. Had Q Card not fallen at the third last fence of the Gold Cup, would he have won? Jack?
Yes.
Nick?
No.
Rob? You have the decide. You're like Len Goodman in Strictly. You have the deciding vote, Rob.
I'll go yes. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they have it. Q Card would have won the Gold Cup had he not fallen throughout. Let's hope he goes well in the Charlie Hall this weekend. And looking further afield to the following weekend, we're building up towards the Breeders' Cup news today, this morning, on racingpost.com, that Lamato will run in the Breeders' Cup Mile as opposed to the Turf Sprint. So we've got Lamato versus Alice Springs versus, of course, defending champion Tepin and a few others in the mile. Who's our biggest Breeders' Cup fan in this trio? Out of 10, Jack?
3 or 4.
Nick?
1.
Rob, if you're not 8, 9 or 10, this next feature is going to struggle. Rob?
Yeah, I'd be no more than a 5.
Well, this was useful then, wasn't it? Rob, you have the highest polling result out of the three of us. Actually, I love the Breeders' Cup, but I've got to be impartial. Rob, that trio, Lamato, Alice Springs, Tepin, Breeders' Cup Mile, thoughts, please?
Yeah, it's looking as though it's going to be a cracker, and obviously on the back of the Lamato news, we're now 5-2 second favourite. Tepin is 9-4. We're best priced about him. Of course, he was beaten as most recent start at Keeneland when he was probably given it a little bit more to do. And Alice Springs, she's been flying. She's won her last 2. It's really going to be possibly the race of this year's Breeders' Cup, and Tepin on home soil after coming to Royal Ascot and beaten all of our horses. She's going to be very hard to beat, and she's possibly the most likely winner. Well, the betting suggests it anyway.
Okay, and Robert, aren't you guys also the biggest price about found since she's been put into the classic?
We are. Yeah, we're 16s for found in the classic, and I suppose that they've nothing to lose now. She's obviously a Breeders' Cup winner. She's an ARC winner, and if she could manage to go well in the classic on dirt, well, she's made for life, isn't she?
Yeah, and just run through your price on the classic with, of course, California Chrome, Arrogate.
We're 5-6 California Chrome. We're 2-1 about the unbeaten Arrogate. Frosted is 8-1. Found is 16. So California's Chrome's going to be short, but I'd say now money will come for this Arrogate. He was very good in the Travers, wasn't he?
He was, but do we believe what we saw in the Travers? That's the question. That's what you've been ruminating about, isn't it? Do we believe what we saw with Arrogate?
Not really. I haven't really been putting too much thought into that. I think it's tough initially to look past California Chrome, and the race is just proven, isn't he, on the surface?
Yeah,
over there.
He was sensational last time. Have you got any Breeders' Cup fancies, anybody?
I'll give one.
Go on.
Seeing as I'm on here.
Really seeing as you're on. You're going to sound more enthusiastic than that, Nick.
7th Heaven, if she goes for the fillies and mares turf, she's got to be better than she showed at Ascot last time. Race didn't pan out perfectly for her at all, but if you go back to her performance when she beat Found at York in the Yorkshire Oaks, then I'd give her a good chance. And yeah, one dart. Let's hope it comes off.
Yeah, I lost good money on her that day. That was a painful.
Get it back.
Well, Winks was helpful over the week, and I'm hoping that.
Did it pay for the gravel?
It did. Well, the gravel was £109 for the bag plus £20 delivery. Although we had to top it up with 3 smaller bags plus some Ledbury marble to go on the stream effect through the middle of the garden. Which look, you'd love my garden, Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about? Right now, we've done Breeders' Cup. We've done Nick. Anything else you're looking forward to this week?
I think Bally Optics running at the weekend. He's a long shot for many for the World Hurdle. He's taking his next step, and I think Native River comes back in the same race as a Hennessy Prep. So that's quite an interesting one.
That's the West Yorkshire Hurdle, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. So hopefully it'll be an informative card at Wetherby.
Good man. And Jack?
Looking forward to seeing Pendra back In the race he won last year, Sodexo Gold Cup at Ascot. I think he's off a £5 high mark. Be interesting to see how he fares.
Excellent. And Rob, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, obviously the Charlie Hall, and we've the Melbourne Cup this day next week, haven't we? So I might get up for that.
Good man. Very, very honourable of you. Yeah. Well, on Friday, we should be looking forward to the Charlie Hall, the Sodexo Gold Cup. We might have a look at the Melbourne Cup, and if the boys win, we might look at the Breeders' Cup again, given they were so enamoured with the Santa Anita Race Fest. But until then, this was your Racing Post Weekly Review Postcast. See you all again on Friday. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They price up all UK and Irish racing the night before.